Hello friends, welcome to Kerala PSC HSA English classes. This is class 34. Today I'm going to discuss on the last play of module 2 drama, Girish Karnad's Nagamandala. Girish Raghunath Karnad was an Indian playwright, actor and director. He is known for his plays Yayadi, Tuklak, Hayavadana, Nagamandala, The Fire and the Rain, The Dreams of Tippu Sultan, etc. He wrote the film script for U.R. Anandamurthy's Samskara and won President's Gold Medal. Other than that, he has won many other awards, including Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, Jnanpith Award, etc. He wrote both in Kannada and English. Nagamandala is based on two oral tales from Karnataka, which Girish Karnad first heard several years ago from Professor A.K. Ramanujan. Then he wrote Nagamandala during the year he spent at the University of Chicago as visiting professor and Fulbright scholar in residence. He wrote the play originally in Kannada and later he himself translated it into English. Nagamandala is a play which is divided into prologue, Act 1, Act 2, and the latter half of Act 2 acts as the epilogue. The prologue has characters like Story, Man, who is a failed playwright, Flames. They all fade into the background with the exposition of Act 1 and they only return to the center stage in the epilogue. And during Act 1, Act 2, we'll be able to see the major characters. Rani, who is a central figure, the female protagonist. Appanna, Rani's husband. Kurudava, a blind old woman. Kappanna, who is Kurudava's son. Then of course there is Naga, who loves Rani because of the effect of the magic root. And Naga disguises as Appanna and loves Rani. The main theme of this play is the rights of a woman to live in dignity and self-respect and not as a shadow of her husband. So when the play opens, we are told by Story, one of the three main characters in the prologue. The other two characters are the Man and the Flames. So the story is told by Story about Rani with long dark tresses who has come to live in her husband's house. But Appanna, her husband, shows no interest in her. She is locked in the house and he lives every day by night to sleep with his mistress. He comes home for lunch only. He encourages no conversation, there is no talk between them, and does not like the idea of anyone talking to his wife. So Rani dreams that she is home again with her parents who love her most, being their only daughter. Every night, the stillness, she is all alone every night and it frightens her until she dreams of sleeping securely between her father and mother. So Rani's life is about to change. There is a drastic change is going to happen in her life with the arrival of Kurudava, a blind old woman who moves around with the help of her son Kappanna. She claims to be an old friend of Appanna's dead mother. So Kurudava feels it her duty to visit her late friend's daughter in law. At first, she thinks the house is empty as she finds the lock of the door. But soon Kurudava realizes that Rani is alone in the house. And she is scandalized at the thought that Appanna, though newly married, is with his old concubine or mistress, ignoring his bride. So she decides to help Rani. She consoles her and sends Kappanna home to fetch a bit of magic root which has an old medicant given her years ago. There were 3 pieces of this magic root, of which the middle piece was used by her to ensnare her present husband when she was a young maiden. Now she gives Rani the smaller of the 2 remaining pieces. Following her advice, the girl makes a paste of it and mixes it with Appanna's food. Then Aparna falls unconscious on eating it. Rani, of course, she is frightened, but her husband wakes up a little later and leaves as usual after locking her in. There is no change. So he had seen Kurudava earlier and warns Rani against talking to the old woman again. But the old woman comes back after a while to see if her magic root has worked or not. Surprised at its failure, she gives Rani the big piece, assuring her of total success this time. So Rani again prepares a paste with it, but it turns blood red and explodes when it is boiled along with food. Frightened, she throws the mixture onto an ant hill. Naga, who lives there, gets the full impact of it. Aparna, who sees Rani running back, is furious that she has dared to step out. He slaps her and goes out, locking the door. Now, King Cobra had been watching all, for a while. He's strangely attracted to her. The next part of the story is based on the myth that a cobra can assume any form as it likes. So, only if its reflection is seen in a mirror will the original form of the snake can be seen. So, Naga takes the form of Rani's husband. It transforms itself into a gentile version of the stern and uncaring Aparna. The surprised bride finds her husband as a new man when he comes at night. Usually, he leaves. He comes only for lunch. At night time, he is always with his mistress, but this time, Aparna came back. So, in her innocence, she welcomes his embraces only to be shocked at his cold hearted behavior during the day. Obediently, she asks no questions but accepts her lot in life as it comes. Aparna brings home a dog to keep Kurdava away from home, but the old woman need not come now, for the events take a turn of their own. Naga, the cobra, attacks and kills the dog when it tries to block his path. When Naga assumes Aparna's form, Rani is surprised to see the wounds on his cheek and shoulder. She gets up to take some healing balm for him. In the process, she glances towards a mirror only to find the reflection of a cobra instead of Aparna's form. But Naga soothes her fears away. Days pass and Rani feels that she is living in some kind of a dream world. Things come to a head when Rani tells Naga that she is pregnant. He appears worried and restless. The real Aparna will punish her for showing infidelity towards him. So during the day, Appanna beats up the amazed Rani, accusing her of infidelity. He even takes up to the matter with the village elders and leaves her alone at night again. Naga comes to Rani, he consoles her and says that she must speak the truth as she knows it. He suggests that she should agree to take the terrible snake ordeal to prove her innocence. The whole village gathers to see this test put into practice. Rani is terribly frightened. She is even encouraged by the kindly elders to admit her guilt. Suddenly, Rani walks up to the anthill where the cobra is known to live. She plunges her hand in and pulls the cobra out. It glides over her neck and spreads its hood over her head. So there is absolute silence around. Everyone is watching with this of surprise. The snake then slips back into the hole. The villagers fall at her feet in worship. Like they all now sees her as a goddess, a demi-goddess. Her husband Appanna is told that he is blessed in being able to serve such a divine being. Rani and Appanna live in marital bliss after that. A son is born to her. Though happy now, Rani gradually begins to understand what must have happened. She realizes that Naga, the cobra, have taken her husband's place for a while. She understands why the cobra never bit her during the snake ordeal. She had proclaimed to the crowd that none other than her husband and cobra had ever touched her, and that is true. Now she knows the truth of her statement. The story closes with Naga coming to see Rani for the last time. He finds her sleeping with her husband and child, and it's too painful for him. He sees her lovely dark tresses cascading down her waist. Naga changes himself into a light small snake and climbs into her hair. The next day, Rani feels a weight on her head. Appanna helps her comb out her long tresses. To their surprise, Rani and Appanna finds a small snake entangled in her hair, dead. Rani insists on a proper funeral and says that her son must light the funeral pyre. Rani now knows the whole truth. Kurudava, the blind woman, turns into a mad woman at the end of the story. She is seen walking around calling out to her son who is missing and never found. There is a suggestion that he too had been enticed, possibly by a snake woman. There ends the play. Now let's see some questions based on this play. Who is the wife of Appanna? The central character of the play, Nagamandala. Rani. Nagamandala is considered to be one among the twin plays of Girish Karnad. Which is the other play? Hayavadana. Next question, what is the subtitle of Nagamandala? Play with the Cobra. Next question, what do the play Nagamandala deals with? A woman's quest for an ideal husband. Next question, the play Nagamandala is based on a folktale of which language? Kannada. For which play Girish Karnad won the Karnataka Sahitya Academy Award in 1989? Nagamandala. So that's all. Hope you have enjoyed all the classes of Module 2. Now Module 7, Basic Grammar Prepositions. We have been discussing on the use of some common prepositions. First one, beside, to show the meaning of by the side of. She stood beside me. The girl walked beside her mother. Next is besides. That means in addition to. We have to study Hindi besides Sanskrit. I play cricket besides tennis. Next is of. Of meaning that belongs to or having, etc. This is the house of Mohan. He is fully conscious of his weakness. She is fond of oranges. In the country of America. Next is OFF, off. That means to get out of something or get removed of something. I will cut another piece of the banana. The driver jumped off the bus. Next is about. To tell about something. You have to say or discuss about something. I have no information about the result. She is talking about drama, etc. So, in the next class, I'll be starting module 3, which is the prose, and this grammar sessions will also be continued in the next module also. Please stay tuned to the channel and please subscribe, like and share my classes. Thank you for your support.